Everybody in the compound knew Ima, and it was not because he had any big car or big business, but because he had something more powerful and more surprising. He had a wife named Bose who had turned him from a full-grown man into something like a remote control with no battery of its own, because anytime Bose pressed the button, Ima moved, and anytime she didn't press that button, he stood still like a traffic light during NEPA strike. You see, before marriage, Ima used to be the most stubborn man in their area. He was the kind of person who would argue with bus conductors and fight security men for asking him to register his name. But ever since he married Bose, the fire inside him turned to candle, and the candle started melting slowly. Now, Bose was not like those gentle women you see in Nollywood movies who cry in the kitchen. Nah, she was the type of woman that would enter her husband's Zoom meeting and shout, "Ima, come and soak my wig inside conditioner now, or you won't sleep in this house today." Surprisingly, Ima obeyed her gladly and joyfully, not because Bose liked shouting or threatening him, but because he believed that love meant doing everything your wife wants without question. And Ima took that belief like paracetamol 3 times daily, because even to wear socks, he would ask, "Bose, my sugar, should I wear the blue one or the red one?" And if Bose said blue, then Ima would wear blue. And if she said, "Are you mad?" he would say sorry and go barefoot. There was even a day one of their neighbors, Mr. Fatai the tailor, came to greet Ima and asked, "Are you not coming for evening football again?" Ima smiled sheepishly and said, "Let me ask my wife first." And before Mr. Fatai could even say anything, Bose's voice boomed from inside the house like a generator coil. "Ima, if you follow that nonsense Fatai and go and be kicking ball like small boy, just branch to your mother's house after. No need to come back here." And Ima turned to Mr. Fatai with a straight face and said, "Maybe next time." Then he ran inside to iron Bose's work clothes before 7 p.m. because if he waited till 7:01 p.m., she would shout, "So I should be reminding you, Abi?" They lived in a very large compound of twin 4-story buildings in Unity Estate, Block C, and everybody living there knew about the legend of Ima the woman rapper. They felt pity for him because it was not normal for a man of almost 40 years to be asking his wife for permission to drink water or to greet people or to scratch his back. And even the children started calling him Uncle Yesma, because Ima always said "Yes ma, yes ma, yes ma," as if it was the name on his birth certificate. You know that saying about "you cannot shame the shameless." Ima himself was not ashamed because in his heart he truly believed he was only being a responsible husband, and he would sit in front of their compound and explain to everyone that cared to listen. A real man must listen to his wife. Submission is not weakness, it is love. And when someone tries to call him woman rapper, he would laugh and say, "If loving Bose means being called rapper, then I am 12 yards of Hollandish rapper, ironed and well folded." But deep inside, everyone knew something was not adding up, because Ima used to be a man that couldn't even stand a tiny insult. But now, if Bose shouted at him in the market and said, "You this goat of a husband," Ima would only laugh and say, "A goat that loves you very well." And he would still carry the basket of pepper and onions on his head happily. Do you even know that Bose would sometimes make Ima wear her wrapper as punishment whenever he broke small marital rules, like forgetting to call her darling in front of visitors or forgetting to soak her pants with Dettol? One evening, as Ima walked back into his flat carrying 2 bags of sachet water on his head, someone from upstairs looked down and shouted, "Ima the woman rapper," And Ima turned, smiled, and said proudly, "My wrapper dey clean pass your bed sheets." One Thursday evening, the men of Unity Estate Block C decided to gather under the mango tree at the back of their compound, a spot they usually reserved for drying clothes or playing Ludo, but which had now become the meeting point for broken men and husbands in crisis. Mr. Fatai, the tailor, was the one who called the meeting, and he was pacing up and down with his measuring tape still hanging around his neck because he just came back from sewing one stubborn lace, and his face was full of worry as he kept repeating, "Gentlemen, this thing don't pass play o. If we no do something about Ima, very soon our wives go begin use us to mop floor." Baba Ibeji, the meat seller, whose wife still respected him, adjusted his cap and nodded. "It is true, since Bose entered this compound, everything don't change. Women now, they look us like say we be mumu. Yesterday, my wife tell me say make I wash her bra, and she said if Ima can do it, you too can." The men groaned in pain as they thought about how Ima's obedience was spreading like virus through the compound, making all the women look at their husbands like unfinished projects. Yomi, the taxi driver, shouted, "Omo, now my wife drive my car go market today o. She say make I stay house with the baby, say Ima too dey do am, say make I join the movement." Everybody shouted "ha" at once, and then silence fell as they all turned to look at the empty chair in the middle, the one they had reserved for Ima. He wasn't even there yet, and someone asked, "Do you think he will come?" "Na Bose be the problem o, not Ima," someone else muttered. "If she catch am for this meeting, she go pull in ear like primary school pikin." But just as they were shaking their heads and murmuring, they heard the sound of bedroom slippers. It was Ima walking like someone who just sneaked out of prison to buy biscuits. He reached the mango tree, greeted everyone with his usual gentle voice, "Good evening, brothers," and sat down. They all looked at him with pity, the way people look at someone who just lost a bet with their future. And Mr. Fatai didn't waste time. He pointed at Ima and said, "Ima, we no call you here to fight you. We love you, but we want to help you recover your backbone. We want to help you remember that you are a man." Ima looked confused, like someone who was asked to solve WAEC maths on the spot. He said, "I'm fine, oh. Me and Bose are doing well. She just gave me permission to attend this meeting for 15 minutes. So please, let's be fast before she calls." The men clapped their hands once and sighed shamefully while Mr. Fatai opened a nylon bag and brought out a small white book he had photocopied from one Baba inside Mushi. The title of the book was "7 Ways to Reclaim Your Manhood Without Going to Jail." He handed it to Ima, who took it like someone handling hot charcoal and started flipping the pages with fear, while Mr. Fatai explained, "See this book, it has helped marriages. You no need to fight. Just start by saying no once in a while. Stop asking for permission to eat bread, and stop kneeling down to apologize for using hot water." Ima scratched his head, and his eyes were moving left and right like a prisoner waiting for CCTV to turn off. Then he sighed and said, "But love is sacrifice, Abi. Love is not slavery." They all chorused at once. Ima nodded slowly as if he was beginning to understand something, and for a brief moment the men were hopeful. Maybe, just maybe, the wrapper was beginning to untie. But just then, his phone rang, and immediately his eyes widened, his hands shook, and he picked up the phone like someone receiving instructions from the military barracks. Then he turned to them and whispered, "It is Bose. She said I should come home now and soak beans before it is too late." He stood up quickly, returned the book to Fatai, and said, "Thank you for the advice. I'll pray about it. But please, let me go and wash the beans for moi before Madam talks." And just like that, he ran off with his slippers slapping the wet floor, pa 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 pa, like a pregnant woman tying wrapper. The men sat in silence with their mouths opened as they watched him disappear into the darkness. Their hope was dashed, and Yomi finally said what everyone was thinking. If we don't stop this rapper infection, very soon it will spread and we will be applying to our wives for pocket money. Weeks later, one of their neighbors, Mr. Larry the mechanic, was turning 50 years, and so he decided to throw a birthday party to celebrate the milestone. The party was fixed for a Saturday evening, and he had invited all the compound men to come and celebrate small. Nothing big, just DJ, drinks, grilled chicken and pepper soup. Men had already arrived, laughing, drinking and dancing small to Feel It by Davido, when Fatai suddenly nudged them. Guys, look who is coming. They turned and saw Ima. He was wearing his finest shirt, the brown one with gold buttons that Bose only allowed him to wear on prayer days. He had powdered his face lightly, his hair was freshly combed, and he was walking carefully like someone testing the temperature of freedom for the first time. The men's jaws dropped. Papa Ibeji nearly spilled his drink as he shouted, "Ima, you came?" Ima smiled and said, "She's sleeping. I told her I want to buy Maggie. I have exactly 1 hour and 12 minutes before she wakes up to ask for it." They hugged him like a prodigal husband returning home, gave him a seat, poured him a drink, and even offered him chicken gizzard. Ima smiled so wide, they could see joy returning to his soul. The music went up and the men danced. Someone even jokingly shouted, "Ima, no go back today oh," and Ima shouted back, "Na so." But then something happened, something nobody expected, something called Bose. Because just as Ima was about to take his second bite of grilled chicken, a small girl from Block A came running like police siren and screamed, "Uncle Ima, Auntie Bose is coming oh, she's holding broom." Fear gripped everybody like cold wind. They turned and looked towards the gate, and there she was, Bose, the lioness, the general overseer of Ima's life, storming in with her wrapper tied above her chest and holding a broom in one hand like a battle staff. The DJ stopped the music, and silence entered the party like an invited guest. Ima stood frozen like a statue in museum. Bose marched straight to him and shouted, "So this is what you have become, Ima? This is the kind of Maggie you went to buy?" Ima opened his mouth, but no sound came out. She turned to the men. "So, you people are the ones encouraging my husband to become useless, eh? This is how you celebrate as men? Useless association." Then, without warning, she raised the broom and hit Ima on the back. And the crowd screamed in one voice. Ima shouted, "Ah, Bose, it's just pepper soup I took now." Bose shouted, "You think you are a man because you wore gold buttons, Abi?" She squeezed his shirt like 5 naira notes, turned him around and said, "Let's go home before I disgrace you here completely." Ima followed without any argument, holding his 2 slippers in his hand because she had already used broom to remove them. And as they walked away like mother and child going to night prep, the party remained quiet for a full minute. Then the DJ said into the mic, "Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ima the woman rapper live performance." Everyone burst into laughter, even though deep down, a small part of each man wanted to cry for him. Unfortunately, the drama didn't end there because that same night, the story had entered the estate WhatsApp group and someone had even uploaded a video of Ima being flogged with broom at a wedding party on TikTok with the caption, "Woman Rapper Chronicles." The video spread really fast because by Sunday morning, it had reached Facebook and Instablog even carried it. They captioned it, "Husband becomes houseboy in Lagos. His wife publicly beats him for attending a party. People laughed and some people cried. But one person didn't take it as a joke at all, and that person was Mama Ima, a strong woman from Ijebu-Ode who had trained her 4 sons with prayers and koboko. When she saw the video from her neighbor's phone in the village, she dropped the garri she was eating and shouted, "Ah, Mogbe, so this boy that I carried for 9 months has become pepper soup for one small girl from Shagamu." She didn't waste any more second. She tied her biggest wrapper, packed 2 Bibles, wore her church hat, and entered the next bus going to Lagos with a bottle of olive oil in one hand and grudge in her chest. By the time she arrived Unity Estate that evening, it was already 7:45 p.m. People were sitting outside fanning themselves and gossiping gently when they heard a voice from the gate. "Where is Ima's flat?" I said, "Where is that girl that thinks my son is a mopstick?" The estate became silent. Then they saw Mama Ima, a short but mighty woman with wide shoulders and strong legs, dragging one Ghana must go bag and holding anointing oil like police ID card. She didn't smile or greet anybody. She just walked straight to the door of Ima's flat and knocked like someone who was breaking Jericho's wall. Bose opened the door slowly and smiled like someone trying to escape Judgment Day. "Good evening, ma." But Mama Ima pushed the door open before she finished, entered the parlor and shouted, "So, you are the one flogging my son like a goat? The child I gave birth to after 7 days of hard labor. You now turned him into handbag?" Ima was sitting on the couch, already shaking like a generator without oil. "Mama, it's not what you think. It's just love." His mother turned to him. "Shut up there. You now soak wrapper and wash woman pints. You were I born with prayer and fasting." Then she turned back to Bose. "Come and tell me, what do you add inside his food? Efo elegusi or remote control? Because it is not ordinary again." Bose tried to talk. "I am not controlling him. Oh. He just loves me too much." But Mama Ima slapped daylight out of her face. "Which kind love? You use juju for my son." Then she opened her bag and brought out her big Bible and shouted, "Psalm 35, open it now. We are praying tonight." That night, Mama Ima sprayed anointing oil on the chairs, fridge, and even the DSTV remote. She pointed to Bose and said, "I did not come here to fight you, but if you touch my son again, your hair will catch fire." Neighbors gathered at the window enjoying the drama. "It is finally happening, oh. The rapper is tearing small. From that night, the peace in Ima's house packed its bag and relocated to Canada because now the house was divided into 2 invisible camps. Team Bose, the wife who was used to full control, and Team Mommy Ima, the mother who came to collect her son back like empty and reclaiming borrowed credits, while Ima was the football being kicked between both sides from morning till night, and the compound people were watching the match live. Even the gate man said, "I know they watch Netflix again. Oh. Na Ima I dey stream now." Every little thing was a battle. If Bose said, "Ima, help me boil water," Mama Ima would shout, "Why not boil your own water? Is he your house boy?" If Mama Ima said, "Ima, go and fry plantain for me," Bose would snap, "Mama, he's not your first son, I beg." Even to eat, Ima had to use wisdom and emotional calculator because if he ate Bose's food, his mother would say, "Oh, so you have chosen your jazz master. Look at who I am trying to save." And if he ate his mother's food, Bose would hiss and say, "You will soon choke on that ancestral egusi." Ima started losing weight. His eyes had rings as if he had joined cults. His slippers had worn out from running kitchen errands back and forth. And the neighbors began to pity him because he now looked like a man attending 2 universities at once without graduating from either of them. One Sunday afternoon, when Bose had gone to the salon and Mama Ima was in the room praying, Ima finally got the opportunity to sit alone quietly. He sat on the veranda with his head in his hand and did what many Nigerian men do when frustration reaches their brain. He picked up his phone, opened WhatsApp, clicked on Muri, his friend, and recorded a voice note. Now, this was where the problem began because Ima thought he was sending this voice note to just his friend, but instead, he mistakenly sent it to the compound WhatsApp group, the one that had everyone inside. Mama Peace, the prayer warrior, Baba Akim, the barber, the landlord himself, even Sister Jennifer, the gossip. And in the voice notes, Ima had poured out his whole soul with zero filter. He said, "Guy, I'm tired. I am mentally, emotionally, and spiritually finished. This marriage is not easy. Since Bose came into my life, I don't have rest. I used to be a man, but now I am a mopstick. My mother has come, but instead of helping me, she turned the house to mountain of fire branch. I don't know if I should run or faint. God, please deliver me. I want peace." It was after he pressed send that he realized what he had done. His eyes widened and he shouted, "Yay, Jesu, compound group!" He started pressing delete like a madman, but it was too late because 20 people had already seen it and one person had even forwarded it to another person. That evening, the whole compound was vibrating with gist. One neighbor said, so Ima doesn't even enjoy the slavery after all. Another one said, the rapper don't finally tear from inside. Even children were now singing in the compound, "I want peace, I want peace." Auntie Ima said he wants peace. Inside the house, chaos broke out. Bose was boiling. "So, you are now carrying our matter outside? You that cannot even iron your shirt properly." Mama Ima came from behind and added, "So you've been pretending? You don't want me here, Abi? No problem. I will go. But if that girl sends you to your grave, don't call me, oh." Ima was confused and started begging both women like a referee with no whistle. He tried to explain. "It was a mistake. I thought I was sending it to my friend." But it was too late. The house exploded. Bose entered the room and slammed the door. His mother packed her Ghana must go bag and sat on the couch like a refugee. That night, nobody slept well. Bose was still boiling, even though she didn't say a word. Mama Ima was praying with salt, while Ima sat outside in the compound, barefoot, staring at the moon and almost crying. Is this marriage or is this military training? And upstairs, the neighbors were watching through the window with joy, munching peanuts and saying, "Kai, this is better than Z word." For a few days, Bose kept quiet. She didn't shout or give long lectures. She didn't even raise her voice when Ima mistakenly oversalted the stew that night. And Ima thought maybe, just maybe, peace had finally come. But Mama Ima knew better. She had moved out and was now staying with her brother in Agege. She only came in to check on Ima occasionally. But when she called him that night and he told her that Bose had been unusually calm, she simply said, "That kind of silence is not peace, my son. It is the silence of lion waiting for midnight." And she was right because the very next morning, Bose struck. Ima was still on the bed, snoring gently like someone dreaming of freedom, when Bose entered the room with a black nylon and a strange smile on her face. She tapped him. "Ima, wake up. We are going somewhere." Ima opened one eye. "Where?" "We are going to the tailor. He is sewing our couple Ankara for the pre-wedding photo shoot next week." After that, we are going to the registry. Ima sat up quickly. Registry? For what? Bose folded her arms. I want to upgrade our union. You know you married me in the village only. Now I want white wedding. Big proper white wedding. You will wear suit while I will wear ball gown. And if you try to say no, you know what I can do, right? Ima was confused. But why now? Are we not already married? Is this not the marriage? Bose frowned. This is part 1. I want part 2. And there will be part 3. And you will kneel down and propose again during the photo shoot. I have planned everything. Oh. Ima said nothing. He just sat there staring at his wrapper on the chair as if it held the answers to his life. She dropped the nylon containing the matching lace and said, be ready in 10 minutes. If not, I will tell the tailor to use your old office suit to cut the trouser for you. Then she left the room. Ima sighed, stood up slowly, walked to the bathroom, locked the door and didn't come out for 1 hour. When Bose finally banged the door and shouted, Ima, you better not disgrace me. Oh. He replied, I'm coming. But inside the bathroom, Ima was not brushing his teeth. He was sitting on the toilet seat, fully dressed, staring at the mirror and asking himself, how did I get here? I used to play football with my friends. I used to be in control of my life. Now, I don't even have a say anymore. He reached for his phone and texted Muri, his friend. Omo, she wants white wedding. Oh. I haven't even recovered from the traditional one yet. Muri replied, my guy, it is either you take your life back now or we will buy you a new wrapper with zipper and belt this time so that you can tie the wrapper firmly. That afternoon, Ima didn't follow Bose to the tailor. He switched off his phone, walked out of the house in plain clothes, went straight to a barbing salon to cut his hair completely low and shave his beard. He then walked into a canteen to eat amala and goat meat like a true Yoruba man reclaiming his strength. People stared at him strangely. Even Mama Iya Basira, the amala seller, had to give him free meat to support his strength. Back at the compound, Bose was boiling with anger when she returned and didn't find Ima. She had called his phone 5 times, but he did not respond. She marched to the gate man and asked, have you seen Ima? The man said, yes ma, he waka comot this morning. That evening, Ima returned home calm and collected. He entered the house and saw Bose sitting in the parlor with her arms folded and her eyes filled with thunderstorm. Normally, Ima would have fallen to his knees and started apologizing for staying out late or missing the appointment. But this time, he just ignored her, walked past, entered the kitchen and started cooking his own indomie for the first time in 2 years. After eating, he went to sleep. As for Bose, she couldn't sleep that night. Ima had cooked his own indomie and eaten without asking for permission. Ima had even left his shoes in the middle of the living room and said nothing when she glared at him. Ah, no now. Something was wrong somewhere. She lay on the bed, tossing and turning, waiting for him to crawl beside her and whisper his usual, sweetheart, should I off the lights? But Ima did not come. Instead, he laid a blanket on the couch and slept carelessly like someone who had zero worries. The next morning, Bose was already awake and waiting for the usual breakfast routine of Ima fetching water, laying the bed, ironing her blouse while asking which earrings matched. Unfortunately, none of those happened. Instead, Ima woke up early, took his bath, dressed in his jeans and native shirt and walked out of the house quietly like someone going for job interview. Bose pinched herself to be sure she wasn't dreaming. Ima, where are you going to? Ima turned, smiled and said, to leave. Then he walked out, but that phrase hung in the air like pepper spray. By 10 a.m., Bose's anger was fully cooked. She couldn't keep quiet anymore, so she stormed off to Mama Iya Basira's shop and shouted, Mama, have you seen Ima? The woman replied, yes now. He bought soft drink for me this morning. He even tipped me extra. Bose hissed loudly, tip you? With which money? By evening, Ima came home with a small bag. He entered confidently. Bose was sitting in the parlor ready for war. Ima, you think because you cooked indomie and cut your hair, you are now a man? This is still my house. Ima smiled calmly, dropped the bag, sat down and said, "This is our house, but I will no longer live like a houseboy. If we are married, then let it be marriage, not management." Bose stood up and fumed. "So you now have mouth, Abi? After all I have done for you? I carried you when you had nothing, fed you, bought your boxers." Ima stood too. "Yes, I know, and I thank you for it. But love is not ownership. If I cannot think, if I cannot breathe, if I cannot ask you before I eat banana, then what exactly am I in this house as? Your husband or your handbag?" He then picked up the remote control and changed the television from Telemundo to Football Channel. Now, that was the final blow. Bose froze in shock. "You touched the remote?" Ima blurted out, "Yes, and I will touch it again and again and again." The neighbors heard the voices and came out pretending to check the weather. One auntie whispered, "Na today one person wrapper go catch fire." But Bose didn't shout back. She just turned and walked into the room slowly, like someone whose life support had been snatched. Ima exhaled deeply and sat down. That night, Ima slept on the bed and Bose didn't speak or give him orders because she could see from the look of things that this version of Ima was no longer tying wrapper. Rather, this was a reborn one who wouldn't think twice to squeeze any mosquito making noise in his ear, even if she was that mosquito. So, from that night, Bose collected her wrapper and burnt it by herself because Ima has risen. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. Give the story a thumbs up and share the story out with your loved ones. Subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye!